You might be thinking 15 employees at the docks? I thought you could only hire 10 employees at the docks. Well, technically that's true, but I found a way to get more employees at whatever property you'd like. So let's go ahead and go over how this build works and how we got up to 15 employees. So to do this, we're gonna have to take employees from different properties. So maybe we take one from the storage unit, send him over to the docks, take one from, maybe actually 3 from the bungalow, and you know what? I want to do a big build still at the barn, so let's not use the barn. Maybe the sweatshop instead, and we'll take the one employee at the sweatshop and also send them to the docks. Now, if you're counting right, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra employees, totaling for not 10, but 15 total employees in the docks. This is a massive output cocoa farm I've been working on, and here's the overview. Alright, let's just start with a quick overview of this full build, and then afterwards I'll leave some timestamps and do a more detailed explanation of this full setup. But this is 15 employees here at the docks. We have 6 total botanists, 3 chemists, and a total of 6 handlers. Now, 5 of those handlers are actually from different properties, and I will be going over that in the more detailed explanation. But let's just get right into it. Again, this is a quick overview. So Jeffrey and Kenneth, these are our unloaders. They are stocking gasoline for our cauldrons back there, and also, and more importantly, keeping these botanists stocked up here. Now, we are using moisture pots, you'll see here in a second, with all 3 additives. Shout out to 7Pack. Go check out his videos and testing if you like this kind of stuff. But yeah, we have 3 botanists, and they're actually trapped here. That's with all these safes. The safes are kind of caging, trapping, however you want to call it. But each botanist has 8 moisture-preserving pots, all additives, and we are doing a full coke grow here. So from here, I can show you that the pots go to this storage rack. Now, I made my cages too good. I'm actually stuck in here now. Let me get out. And after these plants are grown, the leaves are all going to this storage rack right here. You can see it's filling up really nicely. And Mary is actually taking from this storage rack to these. And then after that, Mary is taking from here to here and from here to here. So taking from the one storage rack that's being supplied from all these leaves of the botanist upstairs to more racks of leaves. You can see all these are filled up. Now, from there, I'd like to mention Mary is trapped on the stairs. This is her home, just this little stairwell. But we do have her trapped, and Mary actually is from a different property. Now, I'm not sure if it will show the locker this far away, but you can see wrong property when I try to do stuff with her on the stations. So yeah, we are making use of caged workers, as well as workers from different properties. So from here, all the leaves are coming up here to these 3 racks, and you'll see we have 24 total drying racks up here, with 3 more botanists. They're all kind of grouped right here, but you can kind of see them. But you can see that each botanist has 8 drying racks, and we also have 24 moisture pots. So 1-to-1 ratio for that. 1-to-1 ratio seems to work the best for this, for a cocoa plant setup. Now, from here, all these botanists will be drying to heavenly quality. We can check out this rack, see that there's more drying. And we actually have one more rack here full of leaves, but these are all cocoa leaves that have been dried to heavenly quality. So again, from this moisture pots and all the plants up to these. Now, these 3 botanists each have their own shelf. So this is a manifold system, again from 7Pack's testing, the same videos. Again, shout out to him. Go check them out if you haven't. But this is where the system's coming from. Each botanist has their own shelf, and this is a supply shelf. So you can assign botanists that only have drying racks to supply shelves, and they will use that as their quote-unquote supplies for their drying racks, which is just cocoa leaves. So that's a super, super cool system that we've implemented in this build. Again, credit to 7-Pack. Now, from there, as I mentioned, all these leaves go to this large storage rack here. And from there, let's go see what our handlers are doing down here. Our handlers are actually taking from that rack and filling all the cauldrons back here. So we have 6 total cauldrons. That is 4 drying racks per 1 cauldron. So 4-to-1 ratio on that. And we have, yeah, sorry about that. We have all these storage racks going to the cauldrons, filling them all with the heavenly dried cocoa leaves. But that is what all 3 of these handlers are doing, in addition to supplying the gasoline into the cauldrons. And they're taking it from here. So, almost done with this quick overview, but the chemists, again, they just have 4 stations apiece, 2 cauldron, 2 lab ovens, 6 cauldrons total, 6 lab ovens total. And from here, you can see that the output is this storage rack. So that's where our last step is going to be, is this cocaine, and then going into the brick press. So I actually have one of our unloaders. This is Jeffrey here. He manages the brick press, and he takes it from the brick press and puts it on the storage rack. You can see we're finally starting to get some bricks. This was a very long build, but yeah, that is about it for the quick overview. Now, there's a lot of details going into this, and I want to go over some of them. So if that was good for you, thank you for watching. If not, here is a more detailed overview. So let's go over some routes. First off, Jeffrey here is hired at the docks. He's the only handler here that is hired at the docks. Reason being is this brick press. If you see, let's see, this handler says wrong property for this brick press. So the only handler that can manage a station here is Jeffrey, and that's just because he's actually hired here. His locker is right over there. So that's just a side note. If you're trying to do property employees and trap them, it only works with handlers because they can do routes at other properties, but they cannot use other stations. So we were forced to hire one handler here if I wanted to brick all this up, which I did. Now, onto the second handler. Now, both of these handlers, I should mention, have the same routes. They're just kind of staggered. So he'll priority 1 is loading dock to this, which is going to be the cocoa seeds. Now, Jeffrey, his number 1 priority, as you can see, is loading dock 1, which is all the additives for the botanists. So yeah, same routes, just staggered differently. So hopefully they're fighting less over trying to stock something. So Jeffrey's hired here. Kenneth is not. So this is where it kind of starts to get unique. Kenneth cannot use a station, and Kenneth that is actually, I want to say he is from the storage unit. So Kenneth being, yep, there's his locker. You see that little highlighted locker way in the distance? I believe that is the storage unit over there. So he actually belongs there, and this is actually why we have all these cars or vehicles parked here. This is actually trapping Kenneth in the docks. So I have all 3 of these cars parked here, so Kenneth can just be stuck in this area here to do unloads. But if we were to move this car, Kenneth would just walk back to the storage unit and we'd have to redo it. So trapping, caging workers not only inside, but we wanted to trap one outside so that he could do unloading. So that is the first worker that's not hired here at the docks, and that was Kenneth. Now, let's move on to these botanists here. Again, I fell down in this little cage, I guess you can call it. And yeah, I can't even get out of here. So this is made pretty well. The botanists are stuck in here. All this cage worker, the goal from all these cage workers is just to reduce the steps that the botanists have to take, therefore maybe a little bit more output. So yeah, the whole objective of this build was for maximum output, and I figured let's combine everything that I've been experimenting with and testing, and let's use some of the testing from some of the other Schedule 1 creators. So that's where all this is coming through. I've mentioned 7-Pack a few times in this video. Combination of his ideas from comments on my videos, and testing that I've done. So this whole build is a combination of everything I've learned from Schedule 1. And yeah, I want to continue this world. I have a few other ideas, but let's continue with this detailed overview. So let's just take one of these botanists. I can show you how they're set up. Pretty straightforward. Supply rack here. Each of them have 8 moisture preserving pots. They're growing cocoa and using all 3 additives. So I have 8 here. The next 8 are going to be for one botanist. I can show you real quick, but doesn't really matter how you set them up here. But they have 8 apiece, and they will be taking everything. I could show that again to this rack. Now I fell in, so let me unstuck myself. So everything is going to this rack. Now, I mentioned this just a little bit, but this is a quote-unquote manifold system from that testing that 7-Pack did. All of these leaves going to one shelf, and then we have Mary here. I already showed her routes a little bit, but Mary's taking it from this shelf here and moving everything down the line to even out all these shelves. Make sure they're fully filled with 20 stacks of cocoa leaves. So that is kind of the manifold system. Each botanist upstairs gets their own supply shelf only with leaves on it, because they only have drying racks. And if you do let this build up, you see that she's instantly filling this. If you let this shelf, all the drying racks fill up, and all the inventory back here for the cauldrons, and then you pay the chemists, that should be maximum output. There should never be any downtime. If you can just see, all of these racks are filled, ready to be cooked in the cauldron. We're kind of waiting on that. So yeah, all the leaves going up here. I can show you again the botanist supplies. Each botanist has their own shelf, right? So Cynthia has this one. I think William is over there. He has the middle, and then third botanist, I forget her name, has the first. Again, 8 drying racks per. And they are all hired here. All chemists and all botanists will be hired at whatever property you're doing the build. Alright, and again, I can show you the drying racks. They are going to Heavenly and going to this large storage rack. So let's go over here real quick, and I'll show you. These racks are stopping and preventing the botanists from going downstairs, as well as this safe right here. I'm stuck. Okay. So if I remove this safe, all the botanists will come down and try to walk outside. But just to save some steps, yeah, we're trapping them upstairs. And this is actually the first time I've used upstairs for automation. I've always just had like beds and storage up here, but I really like how this turned out. So let's go ahead and keep moving on, and I will show you what happens after. Well, I guess I'll get blocked out of that lane. But after this, the leaves go to this storage rack, you'll see that Jeffrey, is this Jeffrey? It was Justin. Sorry there, Justin. You look, I think he's a twin of Jeffrey. But Justin and the other handlers will be taking all the leaves and stocking them in these cauldrons. You can see that I think Jeffrey's going, yep, to this one to fill that. And someone should be coming to fill this cauldron too. Now, let's take a look at some of their routes, but it's pretty straightforward. This handler has 5 of the 6 cauldrons to supply with gasoline. This handler, I believe, has the last cauldron. Yeah, the 6th cauldron to fill with gasoline. And he's also helping out with stocking 2 of the cauldrons with leaves. But pretty much what this breaks down to is you're going to need 12 routes you know, 6 routes to fill each one of the 6 cauldrons with gasoline, and 6 more routes to fill each one of the cauldrons with cocoa leaves. So I do need 3 total handlers down here, and with 3 handlers we have some extra routes. So again, let's highlight Jacob here. I think I called him Justin. Highlight Justin. Justin, as his last route, is just taking from this rack, which is just filtered for gasoline, and going to this rack. So the unloaders are unloading gasoline here to this rack, and just to make it easy visually, Justin is moving everything over here. So I know when this rack is empty, that's when I need to order gasoline. That's just how I do it. I'll order 1 full shelf or 160 gasoline when this storage rack is empty. And the reason being is I don't want my unloaders to be stuck walking back and forth, you know, taking 1 gasoline here as it's used, taking 2 or 3 gasoline here, 1 gasoline. I want just a full unloaded van here and not have to worry about unloading gasoline. I want it to be done within a few in-game hours, and then they can get back to stocking these botanists. Because these botanists really do go through a lot of material and ingredients. So yeah, this is definitely their main priority and what's going to be used up first. So that is the gasoline setup. And if we move over, I kind of showed the chemists. They all hang out here in the corner. Maybe I should make this a little break area. But the chemists have 2 cauldrons and 2 lab ovens each. I can show you. See that? But of course we want the cauldrons to be priority 1, so the cauldron is 1 and 2, lab oven 3 and 4. So moving on, of course the cauldrons are going to each lab oven. There's 1-to-1 cauldron to lab oven, 6 total of each. And from here, all the lab ovens are going to one of 2 storage racks. So the ones on the left here, well, I guess it depends upon which way you're looking at it, but the 3 over here on this side are going to this storage rack, while the 3 over here on this side are going to this one. Now, that's just so that we can see, and instead of just having 1 storage rack, we can see if there's any bottlenecks. That's the next thing I'm going to go over, so I'll kind of save that talk for a second, but that's just kind of what I was thinking here. And then again, I did show this a little bit, but we are taking from these storage racks to the brick press, and that's the job of Kenneth and Jeffrey? Yeah, Kenneth and Jeffrey. And again, Jeffrey is our brick press operator. From the brick press, again I showed this, over here to our final destination, bricked unmixed cocaine. So just as we were talking there, it's made 6 bricks. That's pretty good. That's actually amazing. So let's go ahead and sleep. It just hit 4 a.m. And let's go over a few other little things. But so far, this is really the bulk of the build. I hope that this explanation so far has helped you a lot. Hopefully it's given you ideas. Now, the last little thing I'd like to go over is tweaks or improvements or a little bit more testing that we can do additionally. So the first thing I think I might change is all these botanists upstairs. When I set this up, I just kind of assigned, you know, a whole side here for Cynthia. William just has the middle botanists, or William just has all the middle drying racks here. And where's Sandra? And Sandra has this whole row. What I'm thinking of tweaking here is spreading out all the drying racks, so each each botanist, maybe Cynthia has 4 here and 4 over there. Maybe William has the other 4 here and 4 here, and then maybe the middle ones, you know, we spread between the 2. But really, the idea behind this is that Cynthia always, because she's so close to her, since she's so close to her supply rack, she's always getting done with this first. Now, this might not help at all. It might, but this is just a little tweak or improvement that I wanted to let you guys know that I might be doing. Another one is actually with the chemists down here. I made a little joke that I should make this a waiting area, but I think what I'll end up doing Now this is all depending on what I want to do at my other properties. I might get one more handler. Put them on the stairs here, and only have them take leaves from this storage rack and block this off here. Block this off just like this, and have them put the leaves on this storage rack here. And then the other handlers can take them, take the leaves to each of the cauldrons and so on and so forth. But that's another tweak I'd like to do, trapping the chemists just in this little L-shaped area, so that they're only allowed to be by the lab ovens or by the cauldrons. I haven't decided if I want to do that yet, because we do need access. You'll see that Justin goes all the way from this all the way over there. We would need one more handler to do this, and I'm not sure if I have enough employees on the map if I want to do another big build. So that's the plan for that. That's little tweaks or improvements. Maybe you guys have noticed that as I'm going through this. But yeah, if you see any more improvements I can do, please do let me know in the comments and stuff. I do appreciate that. And then the last thing I do want to check on this build is really just bottlenecking. Now what I mean by that, I want this to produce 100% uptime, never any delay, never any backup. I don't know if it's fully possible. Now, I explained just a little bit how I was gonna do the, splitting out the botanist drying racks and all this stuff, but I've also mentioned that, you actually want this to back up so it is full production. But the idea here with watching for bottlenecks is maybe, for example, we can't keep up with, I don't know, lab ovens. Maybe adding a few lab ovens eventually. This is just an example, probably a bad example, but really just watching for bottlenecks. See anywhere where a lot of product is building up. For example, these two storage racks, if these build up, I might end up making several more storage racks. But right now it looks like it's doing really well. But yeah, those are the three things that I'm additional testing or tweaking, or just some general improvements of this build, thinking about doing, but haven't decided yet. I have a lot more planning to do for the rest of this world, and we'll probably be doing a massive barn build soon. But yeah, this is the full detailed overview, as well as a quick overview in the beginning of the 15 employee docks warehouse cocoa grow. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you ideas for your world, and if it did, let me know in the comments. Let me know what kind of cool things that you have set up in your docks warehouse, and yeah, share it with all of us. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Have yourself a great day.